I was the only white guy on the show. That's not important for the story, but it is important that if you see the flyer, it looks like I'm haunting everyone else on the show. It's really funny. But I was hosting the show, and this table of three ladies, they're like middle-aged ladies. There was like one lady on the left. She was like a little bit heavier set, you know. Um, and then the lady in the middle was like clearly like she was like the least weathered of the three. That's how I would describe it. She was the least weathered of the three. Like of this group of three women, she was like technically like, you know, by default the hot one. But you know what I'm saying? In a room full of 20 people, you're looking at 18, 19, and 20 probably. And I don't know why I'm insulting their appearance. I'm trying to paint a picture. I'm ugly too, you know? It's fine. But the third lady was she's just, you know, a lady who doesn't give a fuck. And, you know, older lady. And, you know, they're probably like late 40s, early 50s, something like that. But they're just chatting like during the show. And if I'm ever hosting a show, I always start off with like, you know, like some ground rules, that kind of shit. And so I started off, you know, keep your table talk to a minimum, blah, 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 blah. Everybody was like, woo, that sounds good to us. And so I was like, great. And then immediately these ladies are just chatting away between the three of them. And I said once, I was like, hey, like, I'm so sorry. I'm not trying to be an asshole. Could you guys just like, you know, stop talking? And the one lady, the hot by technicality one, she was like clearly like sort of offended, but she was like she's like, well, yeah, like whatever. And then like a minute goes by and they don't stop talking at all, and they're just being the worst. And so, but anyways, they like all keep talking, you know, after this the second interaction. And so the third time I was like, hey, listen, you guys need to shut the fuck up. You know, like you guys need to shut the fuck up. You can't, you're acting inappropriately for this context. You know, it's just not okay. Like you know, normal people don't do this. And so you're fucking up everybody's, and it immediately they started like da 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 da. Like one lady was like, she said something, and then I was like, she said something to me, and I said something along the lines of like, oh, you guys all, I was like, these ladies all seem like they are definitely gonna call the manager, if you know what I mean. And everybody else in the place was like laughing at these ladies with me. So they're all, the rest of the audience was on my side, which is important. But they're all, you know, cracking up, and they start to get like embarrassed, of course. And so then they just get like more combative with me. And at one point, this lady said something about my penis or something. I don't know. Like she was trying to say something insulting about my penis or whatever. These are fucking like 50-year-old ladies. And I was like, oh, you've heard about it. I was like, yeah, word's getting around about that thing. And everybody else, of course, is like, oh, yeah, dude, that's sick, dude. You're so sick. And and then the one lady goes, well, it doesn't count if your mom's the one talking about it, as if she like got me, you know. And I was like, I just said, why wouldn't it count? She's the only one who's ever seen it. It's like, you're not gonna get me. I don't care. And that was like definitely like the dynamic, right? That's what gave me the power to destroy them, because they clearly were embarrassed. Like they clearly gave a fuck, you know. And I was just like, whatever. At one point, I think it was like right after I had said that they looked like they were gonna like call the manager or whatever. One of them was like, I'm not gonna call the manager, I'm gonna call the CEO. And I was like, I don't fucking work here. It's like, I don't work here, lady. I was like, you're not. I was like, call him. I don't care. I was like, call him right now. I was like, you guys still need to shut the fuck up. You know. I was like, give him a shout. Get him on the horn. I was like, what are you gonna call the CEO of Apex Ale Works? I don't work here. And I was like, and I got news for you. There ain't no CEO of comedy. All right. The sort of final straw that made them shut up was this lady, the heavier set lady, because I said something to the effect of, to everybody else in the room besides this table, I was like, you know, don't you guys like, I was like, hey, you guys like kind of want them to shut the fuck up, right? And they're all like having so much fun and laughing so hard that one of the guys just yelled back. He was like, no, this is awesome. So which I thought was funny. I was like, fair enough, dude. I get it. You know, I would probably feel the same way. But the lady goes, well, I'm just talking during the show because I'm a huge bitch. Like trying to be sarcastic and call herself like a huge, like she's like making it out like I'm the one making her seem like a bitch, kind of was like the vibe. But I would have never called her a bitch. You know what I mean? That's like an easy way to turn people off. I might have been thinking it. Okay? I might have been thinking it a little bit. But, you know, I would have never said that. Like, calling people names and stuff isn't really appropriate in any context. You know, you're allowed to think anything you want about people, but you know, sometimes you got to bite your tongue for the better, for the best outcome. So I would never call her a bitch, but since she said that herself, since she was like, I'm a huge bitch, that's why I'm talking. And I was like, I just was like, you took the words right out of my mouth, lady. And everybody in the place was like, whoa, whoa. You know, they're like, Jake for president. Then they shut up. The rest of my set, probably like 10 or 15 more minutes of my set, they just decided to all sit there. They're in the front row, and they just were all decided to sit there and stare at me and not laugh. And I was like, you think I give a fuck? You know? I was honestly like offended. Like, you really think I fucking care if you sit here and stare at me? The rest of the people in here like me, dude. This is like best case scenario of something that I can continually talk about for the rest of the time. So I did. I would just, the rest of my set, like after a joke would do well with the rest of the room, I'd be like, yeah, you know, like, seems like almost everybody here is having a great time. Seems like everybody here is having a good one, except for maybe like one table. I don't know. One table seems to be kind of having a rough go of it for some reason. I wonder what's up, you know. And then we had like a tip. There was like a tip bucket out, you know, one of those local comedy shows, and excuse me. And there's a tip bucket out, and the way that I started, I took it up there with me when I was doing my set as the host at the very beginning of the show. And I was like, hey guys, you know, this is at the end of my set after all this has happened. I was like, you know, hey guys, we're gonna, you know, have this tip bucket going around, like if you want to support the comedians, like da 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 da, you know. And I was like, we'll probably skip this table. I was like, we'll probably skip these guys. I don't think that they're going to give too much money. And yeah, the rest of the show went great. They shut the fuck up. This is the thing. Here's the thing about these ladies, and really all hecklers at comedy shows. first of all, if you're somebody who heckles or talks during a comedy show, if you're somebody who's like, if you're somebody who yells something out, like, I don't understand it. I don't understand, like, screaming something out in the middle of a show, like, fucking la la la, you know? Like, whatever. That was all I could think of is literally gibberish. That's how much I don't understand it. But, you know, at least those people have the fucking balls to, like, say something and everybody knows you say it. You said it. You know what I mean? But the thing with people who just go and sit and chat and then get upset when you ask them to be quiet, I don't understand it. I don't understand the mentality behind it. It just is so strange to me that you would go to a public place where you know a performance is going to be happening, a spoken word performance for the most part with stand-up. Sometimes it's not exactly that, but you get it. You get what I'm saying. A spoken word performance, and you're there for that thing. It's not like they didn't know it happened or anything like that. They were there for it. And just chat. Just chat at a table. Like, you know, with your friends. You could talk to them anywhere, dude. You could talk to them anywhere. And, you know, it's just, it bewilders me. I don't understand people who do shit like that. It's super fucking annoying. It's super entitled, and it bothers me. You know, I don't like using my powers for evil, dude. I don't want to embarrass those ladies. That wasn't the, you know, if you would have asked me at the beginning of the night is, you know, what my ideal night would be, it would be everybody shuts up and listens and laughs and has a good time. Not I have to totally destroy these middle-aged women and embarrass them in front of a room full of people because they won't shut the fuck up. You know? It's not what I want to do. Now, when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. And that's what I did. Boy, those ladies are some lemonade. But you know what I mean? It's not what I want. That's not what I want to do. So yeah, it's just frustrating. I don't understand it. And I just totally annihilated these ladies, and the rest of the show went good. And the thing is that they stayed for the rest of the show and sat in the front and shut the fuck up and watched the show and laughed and had a good time. You know what I mean? Once they took my advice and shut the fuck up and just listened and had fun, they had a good time. They could have done that from the beginning. It could have been like that from the jump, you know? And that's the same with anybody, and not just those three ladies. You know what I mean? It's a lot of different people. I don't know if there's, like, in my experience, there's not really a particular demographic of people that is more prone to heckling. I feel like I've just seen every single type of person do it that I'm just like, all right, this is just like, certain people are stupid. You know? They got the heckler gene. The weirdest part, though, the weirdest thing that happened was, so after the show, after I just totally just annihilated those ladies, just totally embarrassed them, I'm still doing it. Take that. Yeah, you're on my little fucking podcast. But after the show, another lady who was in the crowd, she's also like older, came up to me after, and she was like, you sure handled those bitches. She goes, you sure handled those bitches. And I was like, oh, yeah, you know, like, I didn't really want to, but they forced my hand. They made me do it. And she was like, yep. She's like, that's just what you get with empowered women. I was like, I don't even know exactly what I said. I just was like so sort of like mortified and taken aback that I was like, yeah, well, you know, you said it. It's like, you said it, lady. Uh, and I was like, I'm gonna go home. I left very abruptly after that. I was like, this is, it sucks. I hope that that's not actually what that lady took away. I hope she didn't take away, yeah, like women should shut the fuck up. That's not what I was going for.